Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. It is the Beeve, and we are back once again doing a Stam nightblade setup here. Just give me 1 second here. For the first time ever, I'm actually trying to multi-stream to different platforms, and I'm trying to see if it's working the way that it's supposed to be working. It appears to be. Here we go. Alright, so this Stam nightblade setup, I streamed this a little bit earlier on Kick with a dual wield option. I'm gonna go over a dual wield option and a two-hand option. So it would be two-hand and dual wield, or two-hand on front and two-hand on back bar. So for those of you that's seen this on Kick already, this is just an update. I didn't do a two-hand front, two-hand back setup on the Twitch stream earlier, so I'm updating this at the moment. Also, anyone that is seeing this on YouTube, if you would like to come over and check me out on Twitch, my username on there is the THE_Beav, BEAV01. You can come over there and support me over there. One of the things that I'd like to do with the live streaming portion of being on Kick is be able to interact more with people live when I'm doing some of this stuff, and giving people that don't have the ability to test some of the things that they would like to see or they would like to do, giving them the ability to tell me what they would like to see, and trying to accommodate them as much as possible, and showing them what they can do, or what they what their idea can produce. So a lot of people are playing this on console, and if they want to be able to test things out, like you have to spend valuable resources. You have to, you spend your materials to improve your gear, spend your materials to make your glyphs, and if it doesn't work out, then you've just wasted all that gear. So I'm here to hopefully maybe bridge that gap, give people the ability to say, hey, I'd like you to try this set and this set. I'd like to use these type of weapons. What can I do on this class? So that's what I'd like to be able to do over on Kick. We'll see if we can get the people to come over and actually participate in it. So if that sounds like something you would like to participate in, by all means, let me know. You can message me on here or message me on Kick and follow me on Kick, and we'll attempt that and see how it goes. So this Stam nightblade build that I have here, just to give you a good idea. When we're looking at our character sheet, spell and physical resistances are 19 and 18. They'll drop off pretty quickly. Those are, we're using an ability that gives us our physical and spell resistance, our major resolve, so that's why it dropped off so quickly. But when we're rotating, we have like an 80-some% uptime on it, so it's a good uptime and a good ability to give us damage mitigation. We are looking at 19,000 maximum health, 32,000 maximum stamina, 15,000 maximum magicka. We have a weapon and spell damage of 4872. We have a critical chance rating at 64.6. Our physical and spell penetrations are at 4600. All 64 points are into our stamina. We are a dark elf as well. It seems to be, it's the most universal character right now in my opinion. The dark elf is, it's hard to beat. I mean, you can make a Stam or Mage tune with it, and with the ability to use like the armory assistant and whatnot. Like if you're on a dark elf, you can switch out from a Mage character to a Stam character and not really lose anything when it comes along with it. So the dark elf is pretty universal for most damage dealing builds. For the purpose of this parse, we are using Lavafoot Soup and Saltreese. In a well-organized group, whether it be dungeon or trial, you can use Dubious Camoran Throne, or you can use the Artam Takeaway Broth to give yourself some more max health if you need it. We are using the Thief Mundus Stone. Going through our gear set, on our front bar we are using Reliquins. I'm using a precise two-hand sword with this has a disease damage glyph on it. You can put fire, you can put poison, you can kind of put whatever you want on this, but we want to make sure it's precise so we're getting as much critical damage as we can. And then we are using jewelry of Reliquins as well. This is all in Bloodthirsty, all with the weapon and spell damage enchantments on it. I put the wrong ones on here. I got magic recovery instead of the stamina recovery, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. The extra 30 one way or the other in the recovery isn't going to make or break this build. On our back bar, we are using the Maelstrom's Perfected Greatsword. This is a nice little weapon to increase our direct damage attacks. This has been changed as well. It doesn't seem to be a buff or a nerf in either way, to be honest with you, because I was getting kind of the same numbers before they had changed this, but this used to be just like a flat damage number that it used to give. It was like 480 and it would go up to 560, where now it is a 7% up to a 12%, depending on how high your weapon and spell damage goes. Like I said, it doesn't really seem to... It didn't really seem to hurt or, help. It stayed pretty consistent with how it was set up previously. Our monster helm, we are using the Zaun mask and the Zaun epaulets. This is a wonderful damage dealing set that you can, or damage dealing monster helm. It adds critical chance. It adds the beam that comes off you when you deal critical light or heavy attack damage. The damage from it scales up 100% per tick and applies the burning status effect every tick. So you get like the beam that ramps up and goes, and I've seen the beam get as high as in the combat metrics, the ticking as high as 20k on the tick. And obviously that's going to be probably the last tick or the last two ticks is what's actually going to hit that high. But it also applies that burning status effect with every tick. So, this ticks 10 times while it's going off. So every time it ticks, it refreshes that burning status effect. So it actually creates like 14 seconds worth of the burning status effect for you, which is when we look at the combat metrics of this, you'll see it's actually a fair amount of damage. And the 5-piece that we are using is the Highland Sentinel set. This is a craftable set from the Gold Road chapter. It adds 3 lines of critical strike chance, and then for each second you stand still when you're in combat, you get 357 critical chance per a stack of it, and then it stacks up to 10 times. So with this build, we'll see this the critical chance on this getting up to I think it was like 84 or 85% if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. We'll find out when we go into the combat metrics portion of this. But it's you're critting all the time, all the time. It is crazy. Now this does require you to stand still. So if you're in a fight that has you constantly moving, or your type of DPS that's running and doing ice cages or portals or whatnot in content, then maybe you trade this out for something different. I mean, you can always go with like Reliquins and Aegis Caller, Reliquins and Pillar and Urn. Coral Riptide is a good option as well. There's a bunch of different good damage dealing sets that you can actually mix and match with this type of setup that I got right here that will do really good damage. But you know, if you're going into content where you get to stay stationary, you're going to crit all the time, so the Highland Sentinel is going to work perfect for that. The Reliquins, obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, this is a medium armor set that is found in the Cloud Rush trial. I am using Perfected because this is the PTS and I have access to it. If you do not have access to Perfected, the non-perfected version of this is going to perform very well also. The only difference between the two is the perfected version adds you another 1,096 maximum stamina, which is not going to break the bank when it comes to the damage output that you get on the trial dummy or in content. Along with the Maelstrom Perfected Greatsword. The perfected version of this only adds 1,190 offensive penetration, which against the Trial Atronach is useless because you're already at cap on it. So you know, the perfected version of this does nothing different. When you get into content, it's going to make a difference, slightly. So I mean, if you don't have the perfected version of this, but you have the non-perfected version, it's still going to perform just as good. All of our body pieces are max stamina. All of them are in divines. I am wearing 6 pieces medium, 1 piece light. Because I'm a nightblade, one of the passives in the assassination line is a extra 10% critical strike damage. So I could actually drop off one of these. I could drop off the medium mask and actually put a heavy on and get like the full benefit from the Undaunted passive for having, you know, 3 different weights of armor on. So I mean, it would give you, I think, another 3% or 1%. I can't remember. It'd be a slight bit more magicka, stamina, and health. Our champion tree, we got green, red, do what you like, but I would definitely suggest making sure that you have the Boundless Vitality and your hero's Vigor both on, because you want that extra maximum health. In the blue tree, I am currently using Wrathful Strikes slotted. I am using Deadly Aim slotted. I am using Master at Arms slotted. And one of the things that I've changed is that before I was doing the I had, you know, Thaumaturge because I had some damage over times going on, but I decided to, you know, switch it out there and actually go with the Weapons Expert for 20% more light and heavy attack damage. And this seems to perform the Thaumaturge by a little bit. being that we do set things off balance, the exploiter is probably a really good option in this situation as well. This will give you an extra 10% damage to enemies that are off balance. So I think it'll do very well. I don't know if it'll be a huge improvement over the weapons expert. I mean, that's 20% damage on your light attacks all the time. 10% more damage when an enemy's off balance. So, I mean, you have to play around with it a little bit and, you know, go back and forth with it and really go into the combat metrics of it and see which one actually performs better. But for the sake of making this video not forever long, we're just going to stick with the weapons expert right now. Now, make sure you have all of your constellations filled in that benefit you, that do not require you to slot them. So, you know, the blessed in the master curation over here gives you like 2% more healing. It's not a ton, but every little bit helps. It's min-maxing at best, but it is what it is. You got the Eldritch Insight, the Timeless Discipline, the Precision. In the Starving Death constellation, I have the Quick Recovery, Hardy, Elemental Aegis, and Preparation. Those are all your damage reduction constellations. And in your Extended Might, Piercing, Flawless Ritual, War Mage, Battle Mastery, Mighty, all of these things are, you know, filled in if you have the ability to, you know, fill these all in because you have the extra points. Please do so. It's only going to benefit you. Skills, we've tried to keep this rotation simple and static, just like all the other builds that I've made. I try to make everything as static as possible so that the rotation is not ability bar swap, ability bar swap, ability bar swap. There are people that are excellent at that, and they just absolutely rip damage doing that, because they have the ability to do what they do. But I'm trying to make something that, you know, maybe people that aren't the best at all that right now or don't want to have to bar swap all the time. I'm trying to make static rotations that work well, that can be used and be useful in content. So on the Maelstrom bar, we're using the Stampede. This is what procs our Maelstrom weapon. We're using Debilitate. This is just a nice little damage over time that actually applies the overcharge status effect, or has a higher chance of applying the overcharge status effect. We are using Twisting Path. This is another nice damage over time that gives you major expedition for a few seconds as well. But the 1300 magic damage is per second, and when you're critting as often as we do with this build, that's a lot of damage. This is kind of flex spot. I have Reaper's marked right here just literally for the critical strike chance from the assassination passive. You can put kind of what you want here. If you wanted to put like Vigor or something for your own self heals or whatnot, there you can put that there. Leeching Strikes, we have this here for in case our recovery isn't very good, or our sustain, I mean, isn't very good. But with what I'm going to show you, the rotation I'm showing you, you probably won't have to worry about this too much. But regardless, we have it on here because while it's slotted, it gives you a passive heal every time you deal damage. So 1944 health every time you deal damage when you got a ton of damage going off. I mean, you can't really beat that. And like I said, you can activate this to get back 2,000 magicka and stamina. We're running Incapacitating Strikes. I need to take this off here and show you how this works. Okay, so the Incapacitating Strikes is it's a really nice damage dealer, and it causes the target to take 20% more damage from for 8 seconds after it's been cast. And it only costs 70 ultimate. If it's cast with 120 ultimate or more, it does a little bit more damage, and that damage bonus increase is extended 12 seconds rather than 8 seconds. I don't believe that it's worth worth waiting till 120 to hit this. I don't think that extra 4 seconds is that big of a deal, to be honest with you, especially when you have to generate 50 more ultimate, and I just believe that hitting it when you have 70 is probably your best bet. Now, because of some of the passes we have, we'll hit a potion and we'll be real close, and then we'll be over 120, and that's fine. Then you'll get that 12 seconds of uptime, because how the ultimate is gained can be, I mean, it's very consistent, but with the Nightblade's passive, where you drink a potion and you get 20 extra ultimate from drinking a potion, it can push you over that 120 mark sometimes, but like I said, it's just fine. But you want to try to hit this when you have 70. On the front bar, incapacitating strikes, this is actually where we're going to be hitting this ability. If you wanted to put something different on this front bar, by all means you can do so, or on this back bar you can do so, but I just have it on both bars at the moment. I am using Relentless Focus. This is the ability that when you light or heavy attack, you get a stack of Relentless Focus, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 80 up to 5 stacks. So this gives you another 400 weapon and spell damage when it's at 5 stacks. Also, while it's at 5 stacks, it turns into Spectral Bow, so that when you shoot it off, just does an immense amount of damage. It's actually crazy the amount of damage that that this ability can do. It hits super hard. For the two-hand ability here, where I went back and forth between whether I wanted to use the surprise attack or if I wanted to use Wrecking Blow, and I've decided on Wrecking Blow for the main reason of the major berserk that it provides when you use it. Now, it's only 3 seconds worth of it, but when we're literally just using this as our spammable, we're keeping that up a good bit at a time. With our Killer's Blade, this is our execute. When we drop below the 30% range is when I'm going to start actually going with the Killer's Blade, and I'm going to start ignoring the Wrecking Blow, and I'm not going to use the Relentless Focus anymore either. It's literally just going to be the Killer's Blade, because it's not going to do us any good having a 3-second uptime on that major berserk, trying to hit this and then hit a couple Killer's Blades, hit the Wrecking Blow, hit a couple Killer's Blade. In that amount of time, you could have hit you could have hit another the same amount of Killer's Blades and just pumped out that much more damage. Also, we're not going to hit the Relentless Focus in that execute phase either, because we want that extra 400 weapon and spell damage from having this at 5 stacks all the time. On this bar, we also have Barbed Trap. This is a bleed damage up front, a bleed damage over time, a minor force for 10% more critical damage, and the initial hit applies the hemorrhaging status effect. This is a great utility ability right here. It doesn't do a super amount of damage, but for all the utility it adds and the little bit of damage it adds as well, it all adds up and it works great. Last but not least, we are using this Dark Shade. This is nice passive damage for just calling out this shade once per rotation. It attacks enemies within 9 meters. Does 2,300 magic damage every 2 seconds. Applies minor main, reducing damage done by 5%. It is just a really good damage dealer right here. This thing hits pretty good, especially when you add on to it it's going to crit almost all the time, and you're going to have major berserk while it's going off, and it's going to do more damage after you hit your in cap. Like, it's great. It's really good. So the rotation is pretty simple. I'm going to activate my shade, and then I'm going to run in and try to drop my trap on the boss. After that, we're going to bar swap. We're going to light attack Stampede, light attack Debilitate, light attack Twisting Path, and then we're going to bar swap. We're going to light attack Wrecking Blow. We're going to basically light attack spam Wrecking Blow at this point. When your Relentless Focus is able to be, Spectral Bode, you want to use that. Now, one of the things that I always do is I always make sure that I hit the Wrecking Blow first before I hit the Relentless Focus, just to make sure that I'm getting that major berserk out on top of the damage that Relentless Focus does normally. As well with the Incapacitating Strike. When my ultimate is ready, I'm gonna hit Wrecking Blow, I'm gonna hit my Incap, and then a lot of times at that point the Relentless Focus is gonna be procced and ready to go. So it'll be a lot of damage real fast. that Relentless Focus is gonna hit like a truck at that point too. And like I said, once we get to below 30%, we're going to stop Wrecking Blows, stop Relentless Focus, and we're literally just going to use our Killer's Blade. So once again, just so there's no confusion, hopefully, light attack, we're going to activate our shade, drop our trap. Light attack Stampede, light attack Debilitate, light attack Twisting Path. Bar swap, we're going to light attack Wrecking Blow, and this is going to be our spammable when we have to, when our Relentless Focus procs, we're going to use it. When our Incap procs, it comes off cooldown, we're going to use it. Now, when you see that Stampede about to fall off on the front bar, when you get to like about a second left on it or so, that's when you're going to want to light attack Barb Trap again, light attack Reapply Shade, Barb Swap, and start over. It might sound like there's a lot going on right there, but once you actually get into the rotation and see how easy it is, once you get to the spammable section of it, you're going to be like, wow, that's pretty easy 100k damage. So let's, with that being said, let's go ahead and run a parse here so you can see exactly what it's like. Let's make sure we got our ult up. Start off with as much damage as possible. One thing that sucks about the Wrecking Blow spam is that sometimes the light attacks don't agree with it. So the light attack weaving can be a little bit janky with the Wrecking Blow setup. Oop, I forgot to activate my shade. Not going to do that Incap yet because we're so close to being on a bar swap. I want to make sure I'm getting the most out of that 20%. we're gonna use Killer's Blade now. And there's the parse right there, 111,408. Now, one of the things that I forgot to mention earlier is that, you know, the Highland Sentinel set that we have on here, this has to be on the body so that there's, you know, 5 pieces all the time. Because if you would put this on weapons and jewelry, the second that you would bar swap onto your, you know, back bar to reapply dots again, all of your stacks would go away. It's like you're not wearing the set at that point. So it does us no good to have this on the weapons and jewelry. Yeah. If there was like a time frame to it, like you gain a stack for 3 seconds or 5 seconds or something like that, then we could think about doing that. Very similar, like we have the Reliquins. You know, when we're on the back bar, we're not applying any stacks of the Reliquins, but we have 5 seconds to apply those dots on the front bar, and then get back to, or on our back bar and get back to our front bar to be able to reapply the stacks of the Reliquins. If you're not the best at light attack weaving and bar swapping, this may not be for you for that reason. If those stacks fall off, that's a lot of damage you have to ramp back up when you get back on that front bar. So in this case, it might be better if you would go with, you know, Reliquins maybe on the body, or Coral Riptide or something like that, and then go with something different on the weapons and jewelry, Aegis Collar or the Pillars of Nirn, something like that, which are going to produce good damage. Probably should still be in the 100k range, not as high as what we just got right there, but I'm pretty sure it'll still be really close, to be honest with you. But full disclosure, just wanted to make sure I was mentioning that. Now, if we go into our combat metrics, we are looking at 17.1 million in critical damage, 3.1 million in normal. That's an 81.8 to an 18.2 split on critical damage. We have a 1,531 total damage ticks during that fight. 532 of them were normal, 999 of them were critical, for a 65 to 35% ratio. Now, if you're looking at this, you know, up here this says 87%, and we're at 87% right here. This is not mixing with this. And the reason that it isn't is 2 reasons, honestly. First off, Reliquins. Reliquins cannot crit whatsoever. So that's 252 ticks that never critted. Also, Zon cannot crit, 87. So there is another, 330, 340 ticks right there that can never crit. So that's the way, if you take that off here, you're looking more at that range of it being 87%. But that's why those numbers look skewed, because of those 2 specific abilities. Our buffs, let's see. We kept up our major resolve 87% of the time. So that's a good uptime on that physical and spell resistance. The major berserk we had up 58% of the time. For only being a 3-second uptime on that, that's pretty good, considering we have to bar swap away and apply other abilities and whatnot. Plus, at the the execute phase, we're not even hitting anything for the major berserk. So, 58% uptime on that's pretty good. 48% uptime on Sundered. Now, when we go into our debuffs, our maim was 99%, barb trap, debilitate, arm, our 10 stacks of arms of reliquins was 95% uptime. So we literally we never dropped our arms of reliquin one time. So it's very possible with a nice good tight rotation, and I am not the best at rotating by any means, but it is easy to have, a full uptime on the arms of reliquin. Our overcharge status effect 62%, our burning status effect 59%, sundered 48%. We had a little bit of uptime on hemorrhaging. We had a 34% uptime on the incapacitating strike, so that's not that bad. 34% of that parse time was 20% extra damage from the incapacitating strike. So that's pretty darn good, not gonna lie. Now, when we get into our abilities here, we're looking at Wrecking Blow. 21,000 DPS it did for us. It critted 88% of the time. It averaged 58, maxed out at 72. Our Killer's Blade, 14,000 DPS, and remember, we only did it, we started this at 28 or 29%. It did 14,000, almost 800 damage. It critted 83% of the time. It averaged 92k, and it hit a max of 136k. That's pretty strong right there. Here is where it comes in with the light attacks that we were talking about earlier. If you're not very good with light attack weaving, please practice, because the light attacks themselves on that rotation did 14,000 damage, and then when you add in the arms of reliquin, which does passive damage because you're light attacking, there's another 9,000. Just from doing light attacks, we put in almost 24,000, almost 25,000 damage just from light attacking. That is humongous. The light attacks critted 84% of the time. They averaged 16, maxed out at 20. Arms of Reliquin obviously doesn't crit, but it averaged 67, maxed out at 82. Relentless Focus, this is our Spectral Bow. 8,100 damage. 15 to 16 times, had a 94% crit rating there. It averaged 95, hit as high as 110. That's huge. Corrosive Drain did us 5,900. Twisting Path 5,000. Zawn and Burning, these two go hand in hand right here. Just from having this helmet on, I don't have any other way to apply the burning status effect at this point with this build other than the Zawn helm. So you almost have to add these together. The helm did 4,700, the burning did 3,200. That's 7,900 damage. You'd be up here above the Corrosive Drain, but right below the Relentless Focus. That's on it just eats. It's crazy. Stampede came in, Debilitate, Befouled Weapon, Incap. So and then you're just getting into your smaller, damage over time abilities. But that gives you a good idea of exactly how all the damage from this build really just kind of stacks up and is able to do 111,000 damage. So the rotation might look and sound a bit difficult, but once you practice it and start, getting it down, you'll realize that it's very, very simple. Now, for the people that didn't see this on Kick earlier, we are going to actually change this up, and I'm going to show you a different way of producing damage. We're going to go with daggers, but we're not going to go with the we're not going to go with the rapid strikes like you would see for a lot of other classes. The surprise attack, I think, outperforms it just a tad little bit, honestly, which is great to see because I love seeing these classes have this class identity. This is how it should be, plain and simple. These weapon abilities should be right in line, not overpowering the class abilities. But right now, like you see it in a lot of these different builds where, like, the dual wield builds right now are a lot of them are using the rapid strikes because they're a good damage dealer. But the surprise attack, the difference here is, yeah, it does some damage and it does a good bit of damage, but it also applies that sundered status effect every time you hit it, and we're spamming this. So we're going to have a really good uptime on some sundered as well, which is going to help create damage as well, which I think really just notches a little bit above the rapid strikes. Only thing that changes about this now is literally just that ability. Instead of spamming the wrecking blow, we are now spamming the surprise attack. So we will give this a shot. I'll show you exactly what this can do now. I will say the light attack weaving is a lot better with dual wield than it is with the two-hand. A lot less hiccups in the light attack weaving. Wrong button. Gonna hit that all through there. We're gonna wait to hit it on that on the rotation, the front wall rotation. Get as much out of it as we possibly can. This one, we're actually going to start the execute at under 35%. Looky there, almost exactly the same. 111,715. So either option is viable. If you like the class identity of actually using the surprise attack, then this is a wonderful build for that. When we go into our combat metrics report, almost identical to the last one, 17.3 to 3.6, 82 to 17. Same here again, 69 to 30, 70 to 30 almost. Surprise attack did 17,000 damage for us, maxed out at 59, averaged 50, critted at 95%. Wow. Okay, got a really good crit rating on that, 62 of the 65s. Killer's Blade came in right underneath of that, 15,000. It critted 88% of the time. It averaged 88, but maxed at 142. That's huge. Light attack and arms are eloquent right next to each other again. Another 20k DPS right there. Relentless Focus comes in right underneath of that. Corrosive Drain, Twisting Path, Stampede. Here's ours on in our burning here. That's they're almost in line with each other. 4350, 4302. Like, that's crazy how close those are. Right here, this Sundered status effect right here. This ticked 100 times, 81 of them were crits, average 71, maxed out at 9,300. When we look back at the other one, this is the two-hand. We did apply Sundered with the two-hand, but it was only 31 ticks, opposed to, like we went over right here just a second ago, the Sundered right here. So I think this is why the incapacitating, or not the incapacitating strikes, the dual wield is it's for the dual wield build. The surprise attack is just a tad bit better than the rapid strikes. .94% uptime on arms, debilitate 99, major main, barb trap, Sundered. It had an 88% uptime, where on the last one, the Sundered had a 48%, also almost double the uptime on Sunder. That's crazy. Same on the incapacitating strikes again, 34%. Overcharge 68%. Everything else is very similar. Burning 75. On the last one it was 59. So we got a little bit more uptime on the burning status effect, and that is going to be because of I do have a flame damage glyph on the dagger, and the other dagger I am running a poison glyph to get the poison status effect to pop on it. I run it charged just so I get that poison status effect to happen more often. And the main hand dagger I am using Nirnhoned. So let's check out this poison status effect. Where were we at with it? Poison status effect was up 47% of the time. Not huge, but not bad either. And where were we at poisoned here? Okay, so poison did us 2,000 damage. It ticked 66 times, averaged almost 6k, topped out at 9,815. So, just the poison status effect just for being on that charged weapon provided us with 2k in damage. So, I think that's all I really needed to go over here, guys. I don't know if anyone actually joined me for this. I didn't pull up either of the streams. I only have one monitor at the moment, and I don't want to switch back and forth between tabs, and my phone was almost dead, so I couldn't pull up the streams on my phone to see if anybody was joined in or if anybody commented. If you did and I didn't respond, I'm sorry. It wasn't like I was trying to ignore you. I just couldn't see anything at the moment. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it greatly. The Kick page that I have started is the_beeve01. If you'd like to come over and follow me on there, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'd like to be able to interact with the the chat more in there. I'd like to be able to get people in there that want to see different things and want to try different things, but don't have the ability to do it themselves because they're on console or whatnot. And I'd like to be able to provide that service for people. So if that's something that you're interested in, please give me a subscribe here on YouTube or a follow on Kick here, and I'll gladly get into a stream and show you exactly what you can do, and how your idea would work, and maybe show you how you could even tweak it, or hell, maybe you'll show me something that I never thought of, which would be freaking awesome. But that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate it greatly. Thank you very much for tuning in, and happy adventuring.